Dale Earnhardt Jr. just told the world exactly who is going to end Toyota's reign. On his podcast, he named the team, gave his reasons, and finally said what a lot of fans have been thinking all season long. Start with what Toyota has been doing. This year, Toyota has been almost unbeatable. At the recent Chicago race, they put 7 cars in the top 10, and Denny Hamlin, who drives a Toyota, is leading the points and won the pole. Toyota is more than 100 points ahead in the manufacturer's standings, and Ford is way back in 3rd place. On paper, Toyota is running the show and nobody else is even close. Jr. sees it differently. On the Dale Jr. down mode, he broke it all down for the fans. Toyota has been dominating the Cup season, and they did come away with a win this weekend. They had 7 cars in the top 10. Then came the line that got everyone talking. But it looks to me like the tide is turning a little bit. He gave Toyota credit too. The Toyotas have an awesome amount of downforce and speed built into their cars, and they are taking advantage of it. And then the big one, I'm telling you, Ford and Chevrolet are closing the gap. Here's what he means. Chevy and Ford are finally getting fast on short runs, right after a restart when tires are new and grip is high. They're starting to show up with the short run speed they need to be able to match the Toyotas. They still got a little bit to go to be able to run as fast as a Toyota does, over 40 laps. Toyota still owns the long runs, when tires wear down and the track gets slick and slippery, but the fix is coming for the other brands. Some gains still need to be made within the Chevy and the Fords, but they're getting there. Kyle Larson, who drives a Chevy for Hendrick, has been telling Jr. the same thing before races. In Jr.'s words, Larson says, "I've got confidence that we can get there." The Chicago race backed that up in a big way. Yes, Toyota won. Yes, they had 7 in the top 10. But Larson qualified 2nd, right behind Hamlin, and ran near the front all day until he spun out on lap 92 while sitting in the top 5. William Byron finished 4th, Alex Bowman finished 5th, and Ryan Blaney was 7th in his Ford. That's 4 Chevy and Ford cars fighting inside the top 10. Jr. said it plain. "I wasn't so sure at the start of the year, but now I'm seeing it." I know Larson busted his ass in the race this weekend, but the 5 car was fast. The 24 Byron had 2 great stages and gave the lead up on a pit cycle, green flag pit cycle. Then he made the pig fans have been waiting for. He admitted watching Toyota win was fun for a while, but now he wants a real fight. I was like, kind of digging the Toyota dominance. But as with anything, as you get too much of anything, you're kind of like, all right, now let's get some other boys up here. And here's the call that lit up NASCAR Twitter. It looks like HMS is probably the one team that I think gets there first. HMS is Hendrick Motorsports. That's Kyle Larson, William Byron, Alex Bowman, and Chase Elliott. Jr. thinks that team, above all others, will be the one to finally break Toyota's grip. Right in the middle of all this Chevy talk, Jr. and Denny Hamlin got into a funny back and forth online. Jr.'s 2017 Chevrolet Traverse broke down on him. The transmission just quit, and he had to call a tow truck. He posted about it on social media, and Hamlin, who drives for Toyota, couldn't resist a jab. "Losing a tranny after 9 years? Sounds like you're driving the wrong brand of vehicle." Jr. fired back with good humor. "It was a good run, but everything has to come to an end eventually." The joke lands harder than it looks. Jr. isn't just any Chevy driver. He raced Chevys his entire Cup career. He owns Chevy dealerships in the Carolinas, and his own team, JR Motorsports, runs Chevys in every series. When Hamlin pokes him about the brand, he's poking at one of the most loyal Chevy names in all of racing. Fans jumped in with their own Traverse horror stories in the replies. IMSA pit crew member Bozy Tatarovic said it was probably the gearbox. Jr. said the TC codes lit up on his dashboard. The car made a popping sound, and then it just stopped in the road. Now here's where the argument really opens up. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski have been talking about what they call the struggle for collaboration, and it's the exact opposite of what Toyota has been doing behind the scenes. Harvick drove for Ford at Stewart-Haas before he retired, so he knows what goes on inside the garage. On his show, Happy Hour, he didn't hold back one bit. When you look at Ford, it's a little bit dysfunctional based upon my experience at Stewart-Haas Racing. Nobody ever worked together, and they're still at that point of nobody really works together. Keselowski, who drives and co-owns RFK Racing, gave Toyota credit for what he calls elite collaboration. They've done a lot of things to push elite collaboration amongst their top organizations so that they have two kind of A organizations rather than A, B, and C. That's the whole trick right there. Toyota's teams share what they learn on the track and back at the shop. Ford's teams keep the good stuff to themselves. You can see it in the results week after week. 2311 Racing, Michael Jordan's team, is winning as much as Joe Gibbs Racing does now. Tyler Reddick alone has 5 wins this year, and he's carrying the flag for a team that used to be considered second tier. Even Legacy Motor Club is climbing up the board. Harvick took it even further on the podcast. Ford barely has a presence in the Xfinity Series anymore, and their driver development pipeline is really weak. Chevy is stronger down there in the lower series, but both Ford and Chevy are distracted by their Formula One plans. Toyota, meanwhile, spends money at every single level from ARCA all the way up to Cup. That's how they build fast drivers and fast teams for the future. Harvick put it plain and simple. If you're going to compete with a Toyota, you're going to have to be way more organized on a daily basis, not just every once in a while. Ford has been getting by on Penske wins and Stewart-Haas wins for years, and he says that's not going to cut it anymore in this new era of NASCAR racing. This is why Junior's take matters so much to the sport. He isn't just a fan or a former driver talking on a podcast. He's a Chevy team owner with real skin in the game. JR Motorsports made its first Cup Series start at the 2025 Daytona 500 with Justin Allgaier behind the wheel and earned a top 10 finish right out of the gate. If Chevy is really catching Toyota like Junior says, that's huge for his own team and his own future dreams in Cup racing. He's watching every lap, every stage, every pit stop, and he sees the gap between the brands shrinking with his own eyes. One last piece of trivia before you go, because it fits this whole story perfectly. Junior has only ever driven a Ford in one race his entire life. Not one Cup race, not one Xfinity race, just one late model race. It was 1996 at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. He wrecked his own car in practice, and it burned to nothing right there on the backstretch. NASCAR champion Bobby Hamilton offered him his petty blue number 3 Ford as a backup. Junior changed the number on the side to a 3, jumped in, and was running well too. Then the Ford's transmission blew with just 30 laps left in the race. Hamilton sold that car right there on pit road to a fan, and to this day nobody knows who bought it. The only Ford he ever drove, and it broke on him too. So here's the big question for you. Do you think Hendrick Motorsports will catch Toyota before the playoffs start, or is the gap just too big to close this year? Drop your pick in the comments below and tell us which driver you think lands the first big win over Toyota this season.